Welcome to the Art Hunters podcast, where we hunt for everything artistic and creative in Louisiana so you don't have to. I'm here with the main man, Reggie Ford.
What up, man? Welcome to New Orleans.
Welcome to New Orleans. I'm back home. You know what I'm saying? We do our podcast mainly out of the capital city in Baton Rouge, but any opportunity I get to come back home, I'm gonna take it. And what a better excuse than to come down and talk to my boy Reggie, artist, activist. What else would you call yourself?
I have a lot of titles, man. The Weatherman.
The weatherman,
Yeah.
yeah.
Historian.
Uh-huh.
The restorator of historical bills,
Yeah.
historical structures.
Historical structures. Now, my biggest fanboy moment is you and Punch Train Beach.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about like how that came about? Because following you on social media and just having conversations with you, it didn't seem like you set out immediately to go, all right, I'm gonna go do this restoration project. It was more like how most activists work is like, oh, this is an issue.
Yeah, it's just me always looking for information and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how I could be a service to my community
Mm.
outside of just painting and making money. So the pandemic hit, and some months passed by. I just, you know, took some time off. It just started thinking like, damn, the pandemic hit. When we start selling art to tourists again, it's gonna be a whole new world.
That's true.
So I was like, let me get back to selling art. I made a few mirrors with my artwork around it,
Yeah,
made a
yeah,
ton
yeah.
of money off of it.
They were
And then I
fire
was
too.
like, yeah. Y'all kept buying those mirrors. It was one of a kind.
It really was. Yeah.
And I think I sold about $25,000 worth of them in 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I had to
That's
make a
fire.
decision right there. I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, do you get back into selling art, making all this money, or do you go do something more meaningful? And I just stopped making them.
Yeah.
It just went into the community. After I heard they was cleaning up Lincoln Beach, I saw a news clip of Sage Michaels cleaning up out there, and
Okay.
because he was a barber, he couldn't cut hair during the pandemic,
Oh,
so he was
really?
doing something constructive with his time. So I was like, man, let me go help this dude out. He's cleaning up once a week on Sundays. Let me go at least help out. So before I even got out there to help out and reach out to him, a mutual friend contacted me, See Freedom. And she
Uh-huh.
said, I think you and Sage would make great partners in cleaning up Lincoln Beach. So I went out there cleaning up like almost like 6 days a week, every day but Sunday. And the day he was out there was Sunday, so I kept missing him. And one day I bumped into him on the Lincoln Beach property, and I just stayed there ever since. After I seen Sage
Yeah.
and Bliss working cleaning up, and that's how I found out about the whole Lincoln Beach project. But I've been knew about the beach, but I never set foot on it until I saw him out there.
Yeah.
Once I
I
saw him
still
out
never
there,
been out there, but
no, for real.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why. Is my mind always goes. I come home and I go to family or I go to friends, but I always have that just in the corner. I need to go make my way out there, and especially as you saw it progressing. So was it a lot of just like, all right, I'm gonna just go out there and just do what I can, and then from there it was just building up, or were more people starting to get involved? Like how did the process get to what it is now, which is essentially like a not just a tourist attraction, but just like a leisure spot for a lot of people.
Well, when it started, Sage would have these things. Sage and Bliss still host these events called Clean Up and Chill, where they'll
Okay.
clean up and then they'll chill and barbecue and eat on the beach and chill out, right?
Mm,
So it's community service mixed with a little leisure.
yeah.
And I just went out there and just started picking up any trash that I thought anybody didn't want to get that was deep into the woods
Yeah.
or around poison ivy and all that type of stuff or in the water. I started getting the trash people wasn't inclined to get.
Right.
I started doing the hard stuff. And once I asked Sage, what do he need me to do around there? He like we need the tunnel cleared out or we need this move. I just was going out there to like follow orders and
Yeah.
kind of do what best help out. But as time went on, I started putting my input in to how we could reach the end goal and getting it financed and built. So
Uh,
it just started off just us cleaning up, and I used my social media to put the public eye on it.
You sure did, man. Because I would have never really seen it at all had you not been posting about it. Because I've heard Sage's name, but I didn't know his involvement directly. Because again, me being visual,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I was seeing the post. I wasn't listening to a lot of what you were saying because I'm just like, all right, damn, yeah, he doing that. All right, cool. So some of the context was missing for me personally. But so Sage, you said was a barber.
Sage was a barber, and when the pandemic hit, he couldn't legally cut hair no more. So he would go out there. He's a barber and a poet. So he'll go
I'm
out
about
there
to ask you.
on a beach and write poetry and be cleaning up.
So
Cause
you're a poet too.
he a poet too,
Uh,
and he's into like environmental justice and stuff like that.
mm,
And another reason why people saw me first,
mm.
one of the politicians at the time told him not to post pictures because it was technically trespassing to go onto that city property and clean up or swim and do recreational things. Because you got to cross tracks, which is a federal offense, and then you
Really?
go on. Yeah. If you cross any train tracks that's not at a railroad track, that's technically a federal offense. I know all these things because I grew up by the train tracks and the wharfs and stuff, all the
So
different jurisdictions.
that's literally what I was thinking about. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like they got train tracks run through the Ninth Ward. So they just running tracks and it's illegal to even cross them.
At certain points, yes, it's illegal to even walk over tracks in certain areas. Like,
That's on purpose.
like when you go over that levee,
Uh-huh.
you're crossing onto the levee district. And
True.
when you hit the tracks, that's the Norfolk, so that's
Yeah.
the federal train tracks. And then when you make it on to Lincoln Beach, now you on Orleans Parish, a Brandon property. So you at least,
And then once you're in the water, that's a whole nother thing too, right?
and once you know, yeah, once you're in
that's-
the water, and it's crazy. Once you're in the water, you become legal again.
What?
Because yeah, there's actually rules for waterways and how they extend past
Right.
the land.
That's why I'm saying I know there's certain
Yeah.
organizations that govern just the water parts of it. Because like these casinos and all these boats,
Yeah,
that's all like separate from like just your city parish government. That's a whole nother thing.
that's why they legally can have gaming.
Exactly.
On water.
And that's why it's usually on water because of that. Because my wife used to work for uh, on in Baton Rouge, a bunch of different ones. She did a lot of accounting work for it. And she was telling me, she was like, yeah, like none of that is like that. We have to go through, and it's like is it the Marine police or something like that? Like that, all it's like something different out there. There's a whole nother the police.
New Orleans and
It's all-
it's deep.
It's a whole nother thing, man. And it's crazy because you're talking about the train tracks in particular, and talking about because am I wrong? Or is that's old Pontchartrain Beach where used to be am I right in saying that, or is that a
Okay.
different one? Because Pontchartrain Beach
It's
is
different.
that it's different. Okay,
Yeah.
is that close to the Ninth Ward I'm thinking about?
Okay. The Pontchartrain Beach is at the top of Elysian Fields.
Right.
Dead
Okay.
center in the middle of the city.
Okay,
It's
that's what
behind UNO in
Uh-huh.
the federal building.
Okay,
and that
okay.
was the beach where white people could legally swim. And Lincoln Beach was the place where
Mm,
black people could legally swim.
that's what I'm thinking about. I used to get them mixed up.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
But Lincoln Beach is the one that shut down. Well, I think they both shut down, but Lincoln Beach is the one that. But then when you think about the tracks, the levee, all the stuff you couldn't get to, like I said, a lot of that's done on purpose because I've been doing a lot of running lately, right, downtown Baton Rouge. And I noticed my route, my 3-4 miles, was always a levee, train tracks that they got around there. The interstate where you go onto the Baton Rouge Bridge is right where my studio is. So it's like a lot of interstate traffic. And I was realizing, like, damn, you got to get through a lot just to get to some of these neighborhoods that's underserved. And I'm like, man, it's crazy. And, doing other projects and realizing how to district in and all this other stuff where it's like, you really get siphoned off into these little areas and they just kind of pull the resources from it.
The government will wall you off.
Yeah.
And it's purposely done to drop property values and
Mm-hmm.
basically erase you, even with Lincoln Beach being way out there.
Yeah.
That was strategically put out there. So initially, people didn't see Sage because they was asking them not to post pictures. But I said, man, you gotta post pictures. This revolution gotta be televised.
It's live.
It's live.
Right. Like we got to be doing this now.
Yeah.
Like, And it's crazy because we were having this conversation on the way up here about how extreme politics and extreme actions aren't always, people categorize it as being violent or destructive. It's like, no, like breaking the law sometimes meaning you don't always know what the laws are, and a lot of laws are man-made. So breaking the law sometimes is crossing those tracks
Yeah.
to go, oh no, this is a historically black beach that we need to revitalize. Technically we crossing some rules, and if
Yeah.
somebody really want to lean on that and make a stop, they could. But at the end of the day, this is a public good. Is you
Yeah,
like what?
it's all city
Yeah,
resources, city owned land, and we taxpayers. So that's our backyard. We just was accessing it, doing what we need to do. And me and Sage always said if we had to get a civil disobedience charge or whatever type of
it's worth it.
legal charge, it's worth it. We just gonna keep cleaning up and keep developing it until the government comes. And that's what I kept my word. I stayed out there. At one time, I did 1,300 days straight or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I ended up being out there 4 years straight.
really.
Yeah,
That's
about
wow.
1,300 days straight.
And it's like so removed from you, like you don't. Because I'm used to seeing you out at Jackson Square
Mm-hmm.
selling your work on the corner, and I would see you go out to the beach, and I would just assume, oh, you just walking back and forth. But then, like when you think about it, you had to be out there as much as you were literally out there, like
Yeah.
posting. You had to be out there for a
I,
minute.
I, I was at one time I stayed out there 3 months straight
Yeah.
in my self-sustaining cabin
I s-
because what happened was I had a house in the Bowwater, which is
Yeah.
the French Quarter, 5 minutes away,
Uh-huh.
and I end up getting a roommate. I was roommates with one of my best friends, Roberto, in the East,
Yeah.
and so we'll go half on rent. So that made it easy for me to clean up out there.
Right.
And one day he was like, bro, you paying half the rent, but you never here. You always
Right.
on Lincoln Beach. And I thought about it. I was like, damn. So I just built the house out there.
You just built the house. I
Yeah.
remember, so it was like a self-sustaining cabin.
Oh, yeah.
And you just, so is that something you knew how to do already, or was it just like, I'm gonna figure this out?
I've been building structures since I was like 12.
Really?
Yeah. So I built, my cabin survived hurricanes and 6 foot of storm surge and everything.
Come on.
Yeah.
Is it still standing now?
No, I had to get rid of it because they leveled the forest. It was hidden in the forest.
Oh, so they tore some of the forest down.
Yeah, and I had to tear the cabin down so nobody don't go in there and do anything crazy.
Yeah.
So that's how I was getting so many days in. I would just sleep. I would sneak in there around 12 at night.
Yeah.
I come in at sunset and clean up the beach
Yeah.
because everybody be there the whole day.
Right.
And I sleep, and I wake up and clean up, and then leave. So I either clean up coming or going.
Yeah.
So that I was able to double up on my cleanup shifts by sleeping out there.
Man, and
I could wake up in the morning and clean up, and then go to my house, shower, and get ready for work, and then and then when I leave, I go back to my house, shower up right before sunset, go clean up out there, and then
chill in the
that's how
cab.
you got to do it.
Bro, that's got to be the most, like, the quiet, right?
Yeah.
Because where you at in the east, you talking about, like, it's not a lot of traffic up and down there at all.
Not around there.
Unless I saw one post where somebody flew up the levee or something.
Yeah,
something
but that was
crazy.
2 miles down.
That was 2 miles down.
Yeah, this section of Hain Boulevard is quiet. I woke up to birds like 3 years.
What did that do for you creatively? Did that give you some
yeah,
type of
yeah.
perspective on your art making, or did it give you, or did it affect? I'm sure it affected your creativity and your activism, or what did it do for you?
It improved my health.
Yeah?
Yeah, the fresh air. My 6-pack came back without me even working out.
For real?
Yeah, from just being in natural
Yeah.
environment, or maybe me having to make sure I was on point. Maybe my
True.
stress levels was raised.
And that cleaning up is yeah.
Kind of like if you put a pig in a wild, he turned into a hog. He
Right.
had a little tusk.
Ooh.
Where I got a 6-pack and got ripped up.
Come on
And
now.
it wasn't from the work. It was from the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something,
Yeah,
man.
it boosts your testosterone and everything.
So today, can you still go out there and do your thing, or is it like still a taboo?
I can, but legally it's closed right now.
Okay.
So it could be redeveloped. But I don't go out there because nobody's out there. There's no trash being left no more. So it's just
Dang.
just abandoned site with nobody out there.
And so you think could it be a potential site in the future again, you think?
Yeah, if they invest the money into it and get it done,
Mm.
that's what we're trying to do. They had $24 million to get it up running and operational.
Okay.
But we trying to make sure that the contracts are on point. Um, we fight with that right now. Right now,
Really?
yeah, right now we froze the funding until all contracts are reviewed,
Huh.
and also we haven't seen any disadvantaged businesses get an opportunity to get a contract on that.
No.
And to be specific, black businesses
Mm.
haven't got any contracts that I know of for the project.
So, I, in saying what you're saying about the contracts and some of the more clerical parts of activism, right?
Oh yeah.
The political parts, like the literal going into meetings and understanding what you're reading when people are presenting you with what you need to do to fix a certain issue. Is that something you learn just through life and living, or is that something that's like, all right, here's the issue, and just one to one, all right, this is where the issue is, and this is how you fix it. How did you come up with that? How did you get that knowledge? I should say.
Is a that part of it is a group effort. Sage
Oh,
got his level of intelligence, Bliss got her level of intelligence, and me, I come with a whole bunch of good common sense. And I grew up around lawyers.
100%.
So whatever
Yeah.
they write, between the three of us, we're gonna be able to decipher it, decode it, and understand what it's saying.
Okay. That because doing a lot of the community organizing work that we're doing in Baton Rouge, I think a lot of the people who have a lot of the right ideas, the right intentions, get stuck at that part, right? You get the part where it's like, I don't know what to do once I have to go talk to a politician. Or the politician is telling me one thing, but I feel like something else is happening maybe. How do I navigate that? Or this paper telling me I'm not supposed to do something, like, or I can't fully understand the verbiage here. Like, how do you, like, I feel like in particular Baton Rouge, that's where I'm at right now. That is a hurdle that a lot of the artists come across, and it becomes a barrier for them.
Yeah, it can be a barrier, and a politician can make it hard for you too by pretending they don't understand what's going on and trying to make sure you understand what's going on. And
Mm,
then even after you understand what's going on, they'll still play crazy. Good thing is we got a good city council,
yeah.
so we don't run into that too often. But
Okay.
when we do run into it, I'm able to know if you BSing me or not.
So you say
Yeah.
city council. You mean
Uh-huh.
each district has a specific leader, and
Yeah.
that leader has specific powers, responsibilities, things that they have. They have certain responsibilities as having that position of council member,
Yeah.
and those people are voted in, right?
Yeah, the council people voted in. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We got seven council members, two
Okay.
at large. So I guess they keep it uneven. So when they vote, it don't be an even vote.
Okay.
And we have five districts: A, B, C, D, and E.
Really?
So District E is New Orleans East and the Lower Ninth Ward.
Okay.
And basically, you just go to a council person, and you could be like, "We need funding for Lincoln Beach," and the council person is supposed to go to a fund and write a request for like say $5 million,
Yeah.
and the mayor could say yes or no, or the
Mm,
mayor could say, well, I'm gonna give you 3 million instead of 5 million,
right.
and it go like that.
So, but in saying that, it's good to know, like you said, who they are, because they could be lying to you. And if you know them well enough, you can know whether or not they're BSing you or not. And also to know your mayor, to know whether or not asking for 3 million even makes sense, and if you should ask for more or less, or whatever the case may be.
Uh-huh.
So it's good to be more, I guess, in community with your with your council members to a degree.
Oh yeah, you gotta know your council member,
Hmm.
and you gotta know what power you have over them. And
Mm.
my power is my voice and my audience. I have 80,000 people that follow me,
Yeah.
and a lot of my followers are voters.
Yeah.
If I'm asking for something that mathematically makes sense for the community, and I know only thing you got to do is sign it
Yeah.
for it to come to the community, and you don't, I'm gonna empower them same people with that information, and with
Hmm.
that information, we go into the voting booth and get your ass up out of here.
Yeah.
I speak clear to politicians. Either you do it, or I tell your voters you didn't do it.
And that's important. And I guess the thing I'm also trying to harp on more is this isn't something you had to go to school to learn. This is just this is how your city, every single city in the country, damn near work. And especially us as black folk, we should know who these city officials are, what they can and can't do, and identifying those issues and say, hey, there's an issue here. And that's why, I've had a history of being vocal about and critical about your influence nationally. But I've always been a staunch believer in literally where you sitting and where you living and working, there are people that can control your every move and how you do and don't do things in your city. And you won't know which way of where you going if you don't understand those people and know those people. And you have to vote to do that.
Yes. And like I tell people all the time, you gotta vote because you paying taxes, and when you vote, you pretty much picking somebody
Mm-hmm.
who should be in favor of how some of your tax dollars are spent, depending on how you want them to be spent.
Right.
It's like you just picking a manager of your money. You gonna
Yeah.
get the person who gonna figure out how to get not only your tax dollars, but sometimes other people's tax dollars
Yeah.
to fix your stuff up. And another way, as black people, to see how powerful your congressperson is, a council person, a mayor, just go look at a white mayor and see what they're doing for their white constituents.
100%.
So if he could legally, lawfully do it, your guy could legally, lawfully do it. We all in
100%.
America underneath the same laws and rules, right?
We all in the same community, really, at the end of the day, because and that's where that level of siphoning off those communities, where, because I was telling Kedrick on the way up here, man, growing up in New Orleans, I never really interacted with white people until I got to high school.
Real?
I mean, and look,
What neighborhood
I'm
you
not.
was in?
So I was born on Flood Street in New Orleans, in the Ninth Ward,
Okay, yeah.
across the canal. Then we moved to the east when the east was booming, around like 94. Was in the east. Crazy enough, we left because somebody got killed in our apartment complex. My mom was like, nah, we gotta go. Left, moved to the A ward around Franklin, Clover Street. You know
Okay.
about Capdo?
Yeah, I know what that's.
Around that area.
Yeah.
And that was like we had a white neighbor and she moved. She
Okay.
wasn't there for long. So I didn't really know her at all. So
So
that
you
was
didn't
like,
even grow up in like a mixed neighborhood.
nah.
And I know brothers that grew up like that. You know what I'm saying?
So
My neighborhood was mixed in the Ninth Ward.
yeah,
It was very unique. It's called a Bywater, and it's always been
the
called a
Bywater.
Bywater.
So I knew of the Bywater, but
Yeah.
and again, I'm 4 or 5 years old when I was on Flood,
Yeah.
so I remember it, but it was vague. But we didn't, you cross the canal.
Yeah, I know.
My interaction with white people was St. Bernard Parish,
Okay.
and
That's a different kind of white.
yeah.
Yeah.
My first time getting hit up by the police was with my grandma in St. Bernard Parish
Yeah.
when I was like
Now,
12.
I grew up around cool.
That's what I'm
cool
saying.
White people, Spanish people. It was a mixture of everybody.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, jazz musicians.
Yeah.
It was a real mixed New Orleans neighborhood. Very unique.
And that's the beauty. So it's like I didn't really know it until I got to Brother Martin more so. And of course, like teachers and I'm not saying I wasn't in community with them so much.
Yeah.
So when I got to be more in community and being in school and conversing with them and understanding the privileges that they have, because I'm around this is Brother Martin. I'm around rich. Not even they don't even live in New Orleans. They live in Destrehan and shit.
Yes.
So first time I seen a Palm Pilot, white kid. I was like, boy, what is that? He was like, that's my phone and my computer. I was like, what? He's like, my dad got it for me. And they was, oh yeah, that thing costs like $800. I'm like, so my mind was just like, I'm like, whoa, like what is this? Like I know white people from a distance, but I didn't know y'all move like this. And then that started making me be more cognizant of there were certain things that was happening like just behind the scenes that I was aware of that made me go, oh, if they could do that, why can't we ask for those same things? And my dad would tell me the same thing. My mom would tell me the same thing. It's like, you could, it's just like we got to be more connected in that sense. And which I think New Orleans is unique in that, where we do have I was telling him earlier, it's like it's hard to grow up in New Orleans, period, and not have like a low-key radical mindset. Just it's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Everybody that is, you do what you want to a degree out here. Everybody cool to a degree.
And all the radicals passed through here historically. Marcus Garvey had a
True.
chapter down here.
True.
Then you have the Maroons. You got so many rebellions and stuff.
Yeah,
So it's always, and then the Haitians after that,
yeah,
the Haitian Revolution. So you got so many radical, free thinking minds always pass through here. Even the pirates
true.
was through
Yeah,
here. Even white folk, black folk, Native Americans. Every ethnicity that had radicals historically passed through New Orleans.
yeah, bro. And so is does that influence your artwork at all? Like, tell me a little bit about your process when you approach art.
My art is totally separate from my activism.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, my subject matter. I don't paint like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, some people do and paint Martin Luther King and
I don't.
Malcolm X and all that stuff. I mean, Trayvon. You know, they paint these people. Um,
Do you see
I,
that as more of your escape? I guess your artwork, or not escape? Let me not say that because I don't want to say you that
no,
tied to it.
no.
You just it's something it's more of a skill.
Uh, I just was born knowing how to paint. It's effortless. It'd be like if you walked up to piano and just knew how to play it.
Okay,
So I wouldn't even say it's no escape because I make life comfortable, and if my life not comfortable at any point, I'm gonna change it. At any age I was at,
facts,
I'm gonna change my conditions.
facts.
Um, art just effortless to me. It's fun. It make me feel good. And as far as my activism, I can't like take my time and be drawing some black man suffering in chains or breaking loose or whatever.
Yeah,
I'd rather do it in real life. I feel like art is like entertainment in a way.
yeah.
Rapping, you rapping about I'm gonna get free, I'm gonna get free. No, I'm actually gonna get
Go get
free.
free.
I'm actually gonna chop some heads
The
off.
time you so you're saying the time you could take painting about it, you could be good enough and
Man,
going to
I'm
do
going
it.
to do it. I'm going
Yeah,
go. I'm going short at that thing. And if we ever have a revolution, I'm on the front lines.
100%. Now, I would say me personally, I try to thread the needle between both because, and I'm saying that to say, I'm not gonna paint Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna paint Trayvon Martin. I'm gonna paint a world as I see it and the world that I want it to be. And because I'm a dreamer in that way.
Okay.
Whereas like I have a lot of vivid dreams, and for me, I grew up with a lot of sleep issues. And for me, I was again my mama, all my aunts and all they
Yeah,
all went
me
to
too. I
Noka.
sleepwalking all that.
Right. So like me growing up, it was natural for me too. Like I never considered myself an artist probably until like a decade ago.
Okay.
And people are like, you know you could do that, right? I'm like, yes, this is what I do. It's just
Dang.
my mom did it, my aunts did it. They all play the piano, music, all that stuff. So it's like art was always my brother does it. Art
Your
is just
family or
this is a family of artists. So I thought everybody could just do it. So again, like what you're saying, like it was just like, but in growing for me, putting a little bit more of just like the world I see it became more of a thing of when I realized when people were telling me, oh, you could do that, like you can create that thing. I was like, all right, cool, I can do that. I can make some money off of this, make a living, feed my family. And then I started getting to a point where I was like, well, if I'm gonna be like what you're saying, if I'm gonna be sitting here painting it, I might as well be painting what's in my mind. And in my mind is always some level of what I'm looking at, what I'm experiencing, and kind of where I want it to be. And it, for me is to me, I guess more of an educational piece. Because when people see it, they may see just a portrait of Reggie, but for me, that's my opportunity to be like, you even know about Lincoln Beach and what he doing down there? And that's my art for me is always just that segue. Now I also do wedding paintings, and for me, that's
that's
just
fire.
it's fire, it's fun on the day of. But I tell my wife all the time, man, leading up to, I be like, damn, that's my Saturday. I'd rather be with my kids. But it's hard to have that attitude at somebody best time of their life.
Yeah.
It's their best moment of their life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but yeah, man. And I guess another question I had too, because I had so many questions, bro, just throughout years of just following you,
Okay.
listening to what you're saying, seeing your art, and seeing how your activism in particular too is transforming the city, and it really could be one person just being like, nah, I got a voice. But my question is, what's the environment of being around Jackson Square, like being an artist in Jackson Square?
Oh, I love it. This is the center
Yeah,
of it all for artists, right? We all
yes,
congregate, we
indeed.
talk, we exchange information, and we surrounded by this beautiful French, Spanish, and African architecture. Like they have African symbols all in this ironwork around us, even on
Really,
top of the cathedral. Yep, they got
because that's who
African
made it,
symbols.
right?
Yeah,
So is that something that was put in there on purpose by the people who wanted it built, or were we in there just putting our own little
I,
spin in it?
I think the Africans snuck those symbols in there. It made it so amazing that they couldn't,
You
you know,
can't
you
decipher
couldn't
it.
deny it. They put
Hmm.
that cross at the top on that steeple, and to the left and right are Indica symbols from Africa.
I've never peeped that.
Little swirls on both steeples at the top, and they have the symbols all in like the gate work and stuff.
Really?
I'll show it to you.
Yeah, please show it. Cause you
Yeah,
know what? Again, growing up, man, I've always had that. Like I said, I never been my. It was always a separated view when it comes to people outside of my culture. So like I come into Jackson Square and I see the horse
Andrew
and
Jackson.
yeah, I see Andrew
Yeah,
Jackson. So my mind and listening to my parents and my family, like, yeah, like we don't and it's just like, all right. And I just kind of mosey on.
that's understood.
And going into the cathedral is just like,
I'm not a
we weren't
Catholic.
we not Catholic, so
Yeah,
it
so I
wasn't,
won't go in there either.
you know, right. So it's like going in was just like, all right. And, you know, I went to Catholic schools and that was always weird to me 'cause I grew up Baptist church on
Man,
Charter Street,
go at a Catholic school
small shotgun house, two families and the pastor family.
on charters.
Yeah, Greater Little Zion.
Okay.
Uh, right, like a block or two away from Holy Cross. But Holy Cross is not there no more, but where Holy Cross used to
Oh,
be.
yeah, you was cross canal for real.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like our New Year's was watching across the water, Jackson Square fireworks.
Dang.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it just yeah you don't, and again you don't even know where you from and what you like these conversations of like my childhood and where we was and how we grew up. This conversation me and my brother just really starting to have of like, dang, like we really thought we had our own little kingdom where we was.
For real?
I never thought about being poor. I never thought about sleeping under a mattress during fire, Fourth of July and
Yeah.
New Year's because they shooting outside. But it's like it's just what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. You thought just everyday
That's
life.
just everyday life,
Yeah.
and so, but it gives you that perspective though when you get older of like, oh, okay, and understand that people also deserve more, just in general, period.
Oh
And then
yeah.
it just give you that full circle perspective, man.
Dang. Yes. Like, and more about like Jackson Square with the artist stuff.
Hmm.
I've been like in the French Quarters almost my whole life, riding my bike here from the Bywater. We
Really?
moved in the Bywater in like '89. I was like 9 years old. So I get on my
Okay.
bike and come ride to the French Quarters. I always loved the French Quarters.
Well, so you was in New Orleans throughout the '80s.
Y'all start hanging in the French Quarter around '88 or something.
I was born in '88.
Yeah.
What was New Orleans like? Late '80s. I
They
know
had,
New Orleans
they
like
had
mid
more
'90s.
warehouses on the riverfront.
Tore down?
There was they had went into disrepair by then
Uh-huh.
because you know the shipping changed how the
Yeah.
world shipped things and what gets shipped out of the port of New Orleans. So they still had abandoned warehouses almost to the aquarium.
Mm.
And they tore those out, turned them into parking lots. I watched them build tons of hotels. Watch them build a casino.
So you like really, really like rooted in
Yeah.
Jackson Square like that. That's
Yeah, I watched tourism.
so
be
you
built
watched
here.
it just I'm about to say the tourists didn't get built up.
Yeah. I remember when on the business district that's between Canal Street
Uh-huh.
and the interstate, right before you go into the heart of Uptown, that was all warehouses and stuff, abandoned warehouses. I watched when they start fixing everything up for the '84 World's Fair.
Really?
And I watched them build that second bridge. I remember when they just had one bridge.
See, my memory goes back to all I know is both the bridges was that you had to pay to cross them.
Yeah, I remember the tolls. I
Was it
remember when it
a
wasn't a
dollar?
toll.
It wasn't a toll at one point?
Nah, that toll wasn't always on that bridge to go over that bridge.
For real.
They put that there, and once it got paid off, they tried to put it back there again, and people voted, and it got removed. And I watched gentrification when it first started in New Orleans. It started in '91.
What part really got hit first with
The
gentrification?
St. Thomas Project was the first project to be decommissioned. They moved people
Yeah.
out the St. Thomas Project. They gave them Section 8 vouchers, I believe, and some people they just moved them into the St. Bernard. So the St. Thomas was the first project to be gentrified. That same
And so you got a bunch of people in one area.
Oh yeah, they moved people from a different ward into another ward. They went to war, killing each other.
Look, I'm saying that because again, I'm '90s,
It was crazy.
7 Ward. Like we from after the 8 Ward, we moved into the 7 Ward, and so like it was weird. Like I said, like you could see the differences clashing.
Yeah.
And like that was part of why some like parts of my family don't. Like, we used to come down for Mardi Gras often, and like going back and forth, and just listening to my parents and listening to my aunts talk about the environment. Again, that I always say, like, it was a lot of what my family like didn't say directly to me that shaped me, because they were just like seeing them in certain situations talk about certain situations that happened, of just, and it's just how it made people disperse in certain ways and move to certain areas. And then after Katrina made that way worse, when you got people going now across the whole country. I got people in my family I ain't seen since Katrina.
Oh yeah, Katrina. They pushed people. It did the same thing to our family too. Some of my family members never came back.
Yeah,
Oh,
I technically never came back. I moved back to Kenner a little bit after uh after college in like 2013. Met my wife, and that's because I couldn't afford to live in New Orleans.
price went
Flood
up.
flood insurance was. We was looking in areas. Oh man, this is beautiful, beautiful. About to go to closing on a couple of things, and they go to really laying out what it's gonna cost. $3,000 just for flood, this and that. I'm like, oh, we gonna be struggling. We do this, we gonna have to.
And now that's 7,000. It's gonna be
Right.
8,000. Yeah, and it don't go away.
No, they go up.
Um, so I didn't see gentrification. I didn't see Airbnb artificially
Mm-hmm.
inflate the value of
Yep.
homes, and people living with the consequences of that now.
Yep.
A few got rich, but a lot got screwed.
Yes, indeed.
Um, and the importance of New Orleans and the low rent for a black person specifically was, you got this Republican state where
Mm-hmm.
in any of these parishes you could get pulled over for little to nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Historically. Things a little bit better now, but historically, you got all this turmoil around you. But when you make it to New Orleans, you could get a job, and you could get a fair shake by law enforcement, and, and you could get affordable housing. That don't exist
That
no
do
more.
not, and man, it's crazy leaving New Orleans and seeing that. It's like, oh, it's really like a whole nother, this in the country, really. It's a whole nother world. So, yeah, man. Anything else you want to add?
I'm just saying, I love New Orleans. You know, this is a city where some people lineage don't even start at being enslaved and being free. Some black men always was free
Yep.
here, you know. And they had indigenous black here, and they had
Mm.
Native Americans here too.
Yeah, man.
People from Africa came over here a long time ago
Roots run
during the
deep, man.
Mali period. And then they came over here, and slaves got free. And I think New Orleans is a unique melting pot, and it's
Yeah,
always
man.
been a place where artists could really grow from the ground up and become well renowned from this little city.
This
And I
little
think New
city.
Orleans has the most talented people per capita than anywhere in the world.
100%. You one of them, bro.
Appreciate that.
It's a pleasure talking to you, my brother.
Same.
We're going to chop it up later, man.